Hello friends, Mona here with the Legal Green Room, where we cover the interplay between law and entertainment. Now in this weekly wrap-up, I would really be thoughtless to not touch upon the passing of who I can say without any disagreement from anyone was a genius that you and I really grew up with. He was really a big kid while we were kids, Robin Williams. Now we each remember him in different ways, and the role of that lovable nanny, Mrs. Doubtfire, the comedic fun voice of the genie in Aladdin, or just going way further back as an alien in Mork and Mindy. And if you were like me in the Aladdin era, you'll never ever forget his comedic timing. And you might just have noticed that it just wasn't quite there for the sequel. There was something missing there for Return of Jafar, and also in the movie's weekly series on TV. And that's because the genie wasn't Robin. I know, really, who can really try to even match his unmatchable talent? But legal issues blocked you and I from experiencing it in Return of Jafar. You see, when he came on board for the sequel, he told Disney that he didn't want the image of the genie to be a main focus, or his voice even really to be used at all in advertisements for the movie. Now why? You're probably asking, why would he possibly even ask that? Well, he knew that Genie was a huge factor of Aladdin's blockbuster success, so he didn't want that to stand in the way of success for Toys, a film that he was releasing at the same time. Now, Disney agreed. They actually agreed to Robin's condition, but it flipped. They went against it by using Robin's voice and Genie really in making it a focus in many advertisements. So then what happened? Well, then Robin himself pulled the switch and pulled out of the agreement to do the movie. Definitely not giving you and I our wishes to experience his comedic genius again for the sequel. Now, soon after this whole incident, and luckily for you and I, and really anyone who was not living under a rock at that time, we got to see him so creatively bring Mrs. Doubtfire to life. And friends, I received questions from some of you who were really looking forward to the sequel, asking what's going to happen now. Will the sequel go through legally? What's the deal? Now, he was attached to the movie. Well, soon we'll know the answer to that, but just to point something out, actors usually need to agree to a contract that says that they're banned from taking part in any behavior that would risk their health or their life and really be an issue for them carrying out the role. And here, Robin was battling addictions, and very sadly, he took his own life. Now, while you can't sue someone who has passed, you can sue them and get a judgment out of what someone has left behind. Now, it's doubtful here that the production company would take Robin's estate to court here. Not just because they really hadn't started production yet and haven't lost much financially, but more so because of the humanity in it. I don't think anyone could really think of doing that to Robin, his memory, his legacy, and his family, right? With the success of these films, Mrs. Doubtfire, Aladdin, Good Will Hunting, Jumanji, can't forget that one, and with his continued legacy that will live on in entertainment history, you may wonder, well, what happens to the financial aspect of that legacy now that he's passed? He was married, and of course his widow will get a large amount, I should say, but he also had 3 children. So where do they stand? Well, Robin thought way ahead, much as our parents have, or you're already probably thinking about if you've got a little one on the way, a trust. And I'm not talking about the trust between us and our friends, no, I'm talking about the legal version of a trust. A few years ago, Robin had one created, and he spelled out that each of his 3 kids would receive money, but he put conditions on that. You see, the kids were to receive 1/3 of their share at the age of 21, half of whatever was left of their share at the age of 25, and then the rest at the age of 30. Now why? Why would he put these conditions? Well, it's really quite simple. He was just being a very protective and understanding and loving father. He just wanted to make sure that his kids were protected, but also able to manage the money. So he let them have it at ages that he thought they would know how to manage it best. And just note that this is different than a will. A will go into effect after death, but a trust go into effect, once it's created. And Robin here wrote the trust a few years back, so his kids have already been starting to receive their money. And financial planning, trust, they're all something that we should all be thinking about as we gain financial resources. So Robin definitely taught us a good legal lesson here of thinking ahead in the future. And speaking of the future, Robin's legacy is going to live on. And his life was one of giving so much to us and almost defining our generation's memories of film and entertainment. And amongst all of it, he was dealing with these legal issues that we didn't even know about, and he kept giving to us, being generous, selflessly turning out works to bring happiness to our lives while he was battling his own issues. And with that, we thank him. And I thank you for watching. And if you have comments on this, tweet me at Legal Green Room. Looking forward to hearing from you.